Hey everybody, this is Kevin. Hope everyone's doing great. Today I'm going to talk about building an income plan for retirement. Now, recently I heard a podcast with Robert Merton, and Robert Merton is one of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. And he's also he is or was a professor at MIT Sloan School of Management. So MIT, smart people. Also, university professor at Harvard. So he came out and really said he thinks we're doing it wrong as a society when it comes to retirement. Since we don't have pension plans that much anymore, we still need to think in income terms because, having the biggest pile of money when you die is not really the goal of retirement. It's waking up every day, being able to live the life you want to live. And this is me paraphrasing what he says here. But living the life that you want to live and have the income when you need it. So having a big pile of money is not a bad thing either, but he said the focus should be more on income. And most of the time when you hear people talk about income, it's because they sell insurance products, which Charlie and I don't sell. But I wanted to talk about some of the strategies, including insurance, on how to build an income plan for your retirement. This is just to augment some of the advice that Charlie and I give. It's more of an educational video here. It's not so much telling you what you should do or which is the best. It may come through that I have some biases on one versus the other, but anyway, we'll do the best we can. So what are the choices? Which is best for me? Which is best for you, really? Using a traditional portfolio method. This is kind of what Merton has been saying is a mistake. But the reason why people still like it is, number one, they're used to it. Okay, that's what you've been doing. Asset allocation, at least most people, when they're in the accumulation phase, and you have liquidity and you have control of the money. Whatever's in your account on that day, you could theoretically take it all out. That would be a mistake, but you have liquidity and control. Not having liquidity means that you can't sell something, or you can't get the money. So having a big balance sheet that has millions of dollars, but you can't touch the money. That's one of the issues around annuities is sometimes your cash flow bucket is a lot higher than your actual account balance. But anyway, this gives you two benefits there, liquidity and control. And the limitations for using a traditional portfolio is long-term returns cannot be realized. And what I mean by that is that what if they're not realized? They cannot be realized. That's really poor English. I got to change that slide. I wrote that slide. In the shorter term, and sequence of return risk is real. So what this sequence of return risk means is I have, let's say I have $1 million. It's 100% equities. Now over a lifetime, it should give me a 7, 8, 9, 10% return each year. But what happens if the sequence of return goes really bad at the beginning and my million becomes 500,000 and I'm pulling money out? I'm pulling money out of 500,000, and even if the returns come back, I'm in trouble. So sequence of return risk is a real risk, and that's one of the reasons why you have to be extremely careful of the asset allocation in retirement, even more so than in the accumulation phase. So the next one is to annuitize your money in a pension-like strategy. So what you do is you take your pile of money, doesn't have to be your whole pile of money, but you hand it over to an insurance company and you create your own pension. It's called a single premium immediate annuity, a SPIA for short. So you get a SPIA, and so you hand over a pile of money. Everybody else hands over a pile of money that is the same age as you and other ages, and then the insurance company gives it back to us like an allowance over the rest of our life. That's really what a pension is, and that's why sometimes when you're leaving a company, they say, we have a cash balance pension. You could take the annuity or you could take the cash. And so if you're taking the annuity, you're taking the same kind of thing as a single premium immediate annuity. So you hand the money over, you lose control, and you only get back the rules of what you made with the insurance company. So there's lots of benefits, though, in this, is that it's much more difficult to run out of money if you're getting a check every month. Now, maybe it's not enough, but you're going to continue to get that for some defined period. So many times there is no legacy with these true single premium immediate annuities because you're handing your money over. Other annuities have less liquidity and higher fees, like variable annuities and indexed annuities. and we'll get to that in a second. But these are what's been called one of the best planning for income that nobody uses, because we don't like to lose control of the money. But there's really, you don't have to do all or nothing here. You can do a portion of your money. Instead of buying bonds, you buy a single premium immediate annuity. Okay, liability-driven investing. Okay, so this is one of the other things that Merton has come out, and Dimensional Funds has come out with funds with liability-driven investing. So think about yourself. You're the owner of a company, and you know you're going to need a piece of equipment in 3 years. So if you're a good owner and you're a good accountant and you're a good finance person, you're going to say, well, I'm going to need to have, let's say, $100,000 in 3 years. I'm going to match my investment with that 3-year time period. So I probably wouldn't want to invest in equities if it's going to be 3 years. I may want to invest in bonds. I may want to invest in other things. But the other part of the liability-driven investing is not only matching your investments with your expenses, but what happens if inflation goes up? So in 3 years, if I save $100,000, but inflation goes up by 100%, I really needed $200,000. Liability-driven investing is using inflation protection and using that amount of money you need as how you're going to invest the money. I won't get into the nuts and bolts of it, but if you have interest about liability-driven investing, there's more and more information on it. It is how pensions do their pension liabilities. So again, it matches expected liabilities with cash flow, inflation protection. Also, income is defined and is predictable. So the example of I need money in 3 years. No, in retirement, I need money every year. So the income must be predictable, but it must be predictable in real terms. So nominal terms means that if I get a 6% return, real return means what do I get after inflation? Because we all spend real dollars. We don't spend non-inflation adjusted dollars. So the limitations for LDI is balances of accounts can still go up and they can go down. Okay, so if inflation goes up, yes, your balance will probably go up more. But if other types of risks happen, such as the stock market crashes, bond markets crash, whatever, you can still go up and down with the balance. But really, what are we focused here on? Is having the income you need during life. And so, nothing is a free lunch in finance. So the next one is using income from bonds and stocks, dividends and interest. And this is a strategy that a lot of people love. It makes people feel good to not use your principal. Up until about 5 years ago, this was a strategy that absolutely could work. Last 5 years, interest rates go down so much. Dividends are not as high as they used to be. So, you might not be able to do this, but interest rates are rising now again. So this might come back into vogue again. But the negative here is your income may be cut through dividend cuts. Okay, for example, in 2008, the stock market was down over 50%. Dividends were down about 20%. So you still took a haircut on your income. And this other problem, and this is very well known in the last couple of years, is you could cause too much risk, chasing yield. Okay, I can't get yield from treasury bills. I can't get yield from CDs. How about high income? How about mortgage-backed investments, which are very high income? I mean, these are some issues where if the economy does go down, well, these are going to go down just like equities. They're not true bond-like. When stocks go down, usually treasury bonds will go up. So there's a risk there, but again, it makes people feel good to see that they're not spending their principal. One of our favorite ideas that Charlie and I have used with clients, and we've seen it actually work in real time, is the 3-bucket approach. So this, again, is sort of like liability-driven investing, but you actually segregate the money into short-term investments for short-term expenses, moderate risk investments for moderate-term goals, and then long-term investments for long-term goals. And it works really well because it helps the issue of, hey, when the stock market crashes, we focus on the 2 buckets that are for shorter-term goals, and we don't expect them to go down. Okay, structured products, including indexed annuities. Okay, so what what these products do is they define the rules of the game on the downside. Okay, so there's many structured notes that if the stock market does go down, well, you get a certain return, a positive return. If the stock market goes up, you get some of a positive return. Again, there is no free lunch here. Most of the structured products, including indexed annuities, your upside return is really, really limited. So, but this can work for some people. Okay, if you're going to keep the money in cash and earn a couple percent, this may be a strategy where you may want to use these types of products. The devil in these is that you can be disappointed in the results, as again, there is no free lunch. Insurance people get paid. Sometimes the insurance company is definitely going to get paid. Sometimes the rep will be paid as well. And sometimes there's just not that much money left over to increase the value to stay ahead of inflation. So really, we would suggest, Charlie and I, is to ask us about these products. If you get pitched on one, we'd be happy to talk about what the upsides and downsides are. I would just suggest, though, if you're not going to have much of a downside, you're just not going to have that much of an upside either. They may show you and they may lead you to believe that you're going to have a high upside, but there is no free lunch in investing. Okay. This is from Wade Pfau, and Wade Pfau is coming in September to Knoxville. If anybody's super interested in seeing him, he is a researcher, academic, and he talks about this idea of first, let's take care of all necessary expenses, okay? We can use things like annuities and pensions and Social Security. Social Security is the best annuity there is. It's cost of living adjusted. It's a fantastic annuity, and we have to really make sure we use it well. But we have maybe rental property. We have pensions and dividends and interest. Again, dividends can be cut, but all necessary expenses, we have lower risk assets or just income that's going to flow in. And so the focus on income meets all expenses without ever touching your investable assets. So really you're investing for the people that come after you, for your children, grandchildren, and then charities. And then the rest of your money, so that's really focus one. And then focus two is to grow your legacy, investing for long-term growth without the worry of short-term fluctuations. So if you have $1 million in an investment account and you have all your income coming to you every month and you feel good about your income and your investment account gets cut in half, you'll still cry, but it's not going to change or ruin your retirement where you have to move in with the kids or maybe someone else. And it's free to invest as aggressively as one desires without the fear of market downturns. So this whole idea of take care of all income needs and then invest however you feel comfortable. That's more of a risk tolerance than it is something where you have to worry about being able to take the risk where it's going to blow up your financial plan. So using a mix of all the ideas. That's probably the last thing I should tell you, is that you can mix and match some of these. I wouldn't, if you don't have that much money, I wouldn't mix and match all of them. But if you want to mix and match maybe 2 or 3 ideas, that you could do that. It's your retirement. But do not seek new ideas because a friend said it's working great. Do not seek new ideas. There's a really well-known way to build retirement income. And a lot of these new ways is a disguise for the same old thing where someone's making a big commission or someone else is getting paid or something's just done really well recently, called the recency bias. So thanks so much for watching.